Hi, so today we're going to go through a postnatal ab workout. Now, postnatally, you want to be cautious of any exercises that involve forward flexion. So that might be lying on your back doing some crunches where we're shortening the rectus abdominis, because for a lot of us, we might have a bit of separation of our abdominals since having our babies. In this workout, we will be keeping the head down, but do be really cautious of any doming of your abdominals. If you know you have diastasis recti, this might not be the best workout for you unless you are really, really controlled and you really know what to do to stop yourself from any doming. If you don't have any gapping, knock yourself out and just be really mindful of your technique throughout. So we're going to start by lying on our backs, and remember, just try and use your hands for this when you lie down, just so you're not overloading those rectus abdominis muscles. We're going to lie down. We're going to start with the legs together and the arms by the side, and I just want you to first walk the heels out and then walk the toes out so you have feet that are hip distance apart. Just have a quick look down, check the knees are also the same distance apart, so ankles, knees, hips are all lined up. Now I want you to find your neutral pelvis. So hip bones and pubic bone are all on the same level. If I had a cup of tea resting on my pubic bone, it wouldn't spill on my tummy or onto my legs. So we're nice and level. Let's just take a few Pilates breath first of all. So we're going to breathe in through the nose, and then we're going to exhale out through the mouth. When we breathe in, we breathe really into the sides of the rib cage and into your back. And as you exhale, we imagine closing the ribs back in and down. Again, big breath in, breathe into the sides and the back of the lungs, and as you exhale, clean out the lungs. One more big breath here, make sure that you still have neutral pelvis, and nice exhale. Now on your next exhale, I want you to gently bring yourself into imprint. So big breath in, and as you exhale, just draw the ribs and hips closer together, flattening your lower back into the ground. Now what you should be able to feel now is that there's a little bit of engagement through the core. So we're activating our transverse muscles that work like a corset around the core. So my lower back is gently drawn closer to the ground. It may or may not be touching the floor. And we're going to hold that here. Now, on your next exhale, I want you to slowly lift your right leg up into a tabletop position and hold. Now, this is where I want you to double check. There's no doming of your abdominals. Your lower back has not moved further away from the ground, so you haven't come out of imprint. And you feel nice and safe and strong through the core. If there is doming, or you know that you have diastasis recti, reduce the range of movement, or maybe only pick up the heel until you feel strong enough to then bring the leg into tabletop. We're going to lower that leg back down, do the other leg. Exhale, lift the left leg slowly up into tabletop. Inhale, slowly lower that leg all the way back down. So we're going to alternate each leg each time. And I like to keep my hand resting on my tummy just to make sure that as I lift my leg and I add load to the abdominals, they don't pop or dome, or I can't feel kind of a ridge down the center of my tummy. That's what we really want to avoid. Now, whether you have diastasis recti or not, engaging the abdominals is really going to help you to keep the transverse active and to keep that nice flat flush tummy. Exhaling as you lift, inhaling as you lower. Again, always checking that you've got abdominals that are drawn in, they're not doming. And if they are, this is where you must scale it back. Better to do a slightly easier version than push through and do it wrong. We're going to do one more like this. Lower that foot back down and come back to neutral, have a quick rest. Now, as long as you were safe during that exercise and your technique was good, you can move on to the next exercise. Again, we're going to do a pelvic tilt, so gently draw the ribs and hips towards each other, activate through the core. We're going to float the right leg slowly up to tabletop. We're going to leave it there. Really engage through the core and slowly float the other leg up. And again, just have a quick feel and check the pelvic floor is still on and the abdominals are still flat. Now again, from here, be careful of the range of movement. Toe taps. If you can, you're going to lower the leg all the way down, tap the floor, bring it slowly back up. Let's exhale, take the left toe down towards the floor, inhale to bring it back up. As the leg goes down, that's when you're most likely to compromise your position. So check that you're still in your imprint. You're visualizing your lower back, pressing out down towards the floor. It may or may not touch the floor. That really depends on the shape of your lower back. And again, there should be no doming, so contract the pelvic floor. If there is, reduce the range of movement, maybe hold the legs here or go back to the last exercise, but whatever you do, don't compromise your abdominals, especially if you have diastasis recti, really important. So I've reduced my range of movement here, especially as you start to get tired. We're going to do 2 more like this. 1 more, watch the ribs haven't popped, they're still engaged. 1 leg floats back down to the floor, then the other leg slowly comes down, and then we release back to neutral and have a quick rest. Single leg circles or 1 leg circles. We're going to take the left leg and just take it a little bit further away from our bum. So our knee is still bent, but we don't have it all the way up where we would start. Just again, engage the abdominals. You don't necessarily imprint here, but I do want you to feel as if you're active through your core. Slowly lift that right leg up into tabletop if you're able to do so without doming. Now you can either keep the knee bent or, making it a little bit harder and challenging your hamstring flexibility, you could straighten out the leg. Whether you've gone for the knee bent or the leg straight, we're going to draw small circles with this leg. So we're going to inhale as we take it out to the side and away. Exhale as we bring it across the midline and back to the top. So you can see that if you've got tight hamstrings, this can be quite a challenge for you to keep your legs straight. If you need to, if you do have tight hamstrings, bend the knee and imagine that you have a pencil on the knee and you're drawing a circle on the ceiling. Now the challenge with this exercise is not rocking side to side. So if you think the weight of your leg is trying to pull you off from being neutral and trying to wriggle your hips side to side really, and you're going to use your abdominal strength to keep yourself steady. And now let's reverse it. Bring it across the midline, away from you, out to the side and back to the top. Another way to check you're still active through the core is to check in with your rib cage. So if you find your ribs have started to pop, you've probably lost that connection through the core. 2 more for me, keeping those hips really still. 1 more. And then slowly bend the knee, bring the foot back to the ground. We're going to swap over. So my right foot goes a bit further away from my bum than it was earlier, so it's not so bent. I'm going to engage my core, slowly float the left leg up, and I'm going to check that I'm not doming. From here, we can either extend the leg or keep it bent. We bring the leg out to the side, away from us, across the midline and back to the top. Inhale it away, exhale to bring it back up. Keep checking in with your abdominals. Am I doming? Are my hips moving? All of these things will be a clue that we're not quite active through the core or as active as we'd want to be. If we're going for a nice straight leg, you'll feel a bit of a stretch up the hamstring. And you can try and relax your toes a little bit if you want to. No rocking side to side. 1 more, and then we reverse it. Again, the option here, if you're starting to get any cramp anywhere or your hamstring is screaming, you could always bend at your knee. And we're going to go for 2 more. Last one. And then bend the knee, slowly lower that foot back down and relax to neutral. Let's just take a quick full body stretch, arms over the head, straighten out your legs, just give yourself a quick break. Again, if anything ever feels uncomfortable, make sure you move away from it. Now the last 2 exercises here to keep engaging your core. I want you to bring your feet back towards your bum and let's bring the legs together. Hands on your hips, find your neutral. Now I want you to imagine that on each of your hip bones you have cups of water that you don't want to spill. Keep your knees together, engage the core, and we're just going to let the knees go to the left as far as we can keep those cups of water from spilling. Exhale, bring them back through the middle. Inhale, take them to the other side. Exhale, back to the centre. So I do want your legs to move, but I don't want your hips to move. So we're not going with the legs. I want you to keep your core nice and active. And this is encouraging stability through the pelvis. Again, check in with the ribs, check there's no doming, and we're just gently wagging the legs from side to side. Now the last option is a little bit harder, so again this might be better for you if you are further along in your postnatal journey or you know you don't have any diastasis recti, you're feeling particularly strong, so be cautious. Carry on everybody else. If you're coming with me, we're going to imprint, so engage the core, bring the lower back towards the ground, ribs and hips towards each other. One leg comes up, then the other, and we effectively do the same exercise but with the legs in the air. So I'm letting my legs go to the side and exhale them back through the middle. Inhale to the left, exhale back to the middle. I still have those cups of water on my hips that I don't want to spill. I'm still nice and strong through the core, there's no doming. Contract the pelvic floor to help protect yourself from any doming. Everyone else, keep those feet down. Remember, keep the legs wagging side to side. And we're going to go for 2 more. Last one. And then slowly, if your legs are in the air, one leg floats down, then the other. Release to neutral. And let's hug those knees into your chest and gently rock side to side. Now, that's a lot of work for the core. So those 5 exercises in a row might be quite challenging. So you could always do one and then have a rest and do something else. You can mix it up with some of my other videos. But if you feel like you have control the whole way through, then feel free to do them in order. From here, take your hand behind one of your knees and just use that leg to help pull yourself up to seated. And that is your core workout done. Really important, again, that throughout those exercises, you're watching that you're keeping your abdominals nice and flat. You're not allowing those abs to separate and any doming to occur. If you do find that, make sure that you speak to your GP or your midwife who can check your level of gapping, and I hope you really enjoyed the workout. If you did enjoy it, make sure that you subscribe by clicking below, and I'll see you again soon.